Hello, everybody. My name is Hello. Welcome back to the series where we're talking about programming and design patterns in Python. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the factory pattern, which again is a very interesting pattern. Maybe it won't find a lot of use in your college years, or at least when you're trying to code, but it's something that you'd want to know anyways, and to understand why we'd use a factory. Now, the reason why we use a factory is this line right here, delegating object creation to a separate method so that you don't have to write class name everywhere, and instantiation is done using a dedicated factory. Now, I understand when the first time you're looking at these two terms, you have no idea what that means or why we need it. So I'll start with an example. Okay, let's say you are having an application and you have an email notification service or an SMS notification service. Okay, so if the user opts for an email notification service, you'll assign them to an email notification service. If they opt for SMS, you'll assign them to SMS notification service. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and create one class for each of these notification services. Sorry, let's run this through Python so that, yeah, I get this syntax highlighting. Okay, and we can just pass this. Okay, and similarly I'll just create an SMS notification service also, and then pass. Now obviously in reality, when you're writing these classes, it's going to have hundreds and thousands of lines of code. Here I'm just doing pass, but so that I can just get the concept through you guys. Okay, now let's say you ask the user about what their service is going to be. Okay, and you will say something like input some choice variable. Okay, so this choice will be something that you'll take as an input. Okay, in this case, let's just assign that as SMS, for example. Now then what do? You will say if choice is equal to SMS. In that case, instantiate this SMS notification service. If elif this choice equal to email, then in that case go for the email notification service. Right, this is something that you'll do. This is how you'll create this, and this will be something that you will be taking input. So this will not be hard coded. I can't really take input here since I'm running this in a Jupyter notebook, but ideally how we'll be doing is you'll be taking input, and based on that you'll be running this driver code. Okay, the problem with this is, okay, let's say I have in one file these two classes, right? And in my code, let's say I have 10 files where I need these two classes. So what will I do? In every file, I'll just say from this file import email notification service, from this file import SMS notification service. That works, that work great, it's all right. But in every single class where I'm using this, and I need to make this decision about what type of notification service the user prefers, in every single class I have to write this extra bit of code to get that from the user. Now assume in the future I have some changes on this SMS notification service, or I have a new notification service. For example, let's say call, for example, call notification service, and that will be something that pass. Right, now in every case where I write this in those 10 files, everywhere I write this, now I have to create a new elif block and I have to instantiate this. Okay, but also let's say I have to change something in this class. Instead of this referring to this, I want it to refer some other class, for example. In that case, again I have to go and change it every single place. That makes the code tightly coupled. Now I hope you've heard this term coupling and cohesion, but what coupling means is how interdependent the modules of your code are. In our case, we have 10 different files, 10 different modules, and all of that relies on this. So one change in one module will affect all of the changes in every other module, which will take a long time and to solve, and that means it is tightly coupled. Ideally, your code should be loosely coupled. So the idea here would be, rather than me, so clearly I can't import this, right? But what I can import is I can import a class or I can import a method. So what we're trying to do is we are trying to create this into a class itself, and you will actually import that class in different places, and there, that is your factory. Now if you're looking at factory, there are three things that you need to know about. First is your base class. Okay, then the classes which follow the base class, I mean which is inheriting from the base class, for example, and the third one would be the factory itself. Now let's go ahead and code each of that to see what that looks like. Okay, so we talked about these three things, right? So you have the base class, and this will be the class from which you're inheriting. So all of these notification service, in our case, it'll inherit from something like, say, notification, for example. Okay, so I'm going to say I'm going to create this base class that will be called as notification. Now this is something that we can create as an abstract class also, but for the scope of this video, to keep things simple, let's just not do that. Instead of that, we can actually just create some function called notify, and then this will take self and then maybe a message, for example, and then that will just return pass in the parent class. Okay, from this base class, then we're going to create these children class which inherit from these base classes. Okay, so those, I think they're called concrete classes or subclasses. I'm not sure about what the actual definition is. You guys can check that out, but we can create the children classes. Okay, and that, how will that look like? Well, that's the same thing as what we've done here. So what we'll do is we'll actually copy and paste the same code, but except that, okay, this is in markdown. Just create a code block. Yeah, I'll just paste that here, and here let me just paste the notify function in each of these cases. But here this will, let's just print email notification, and we can just add the message. So this will be an f string so that we can add this stuff format inside the string itself. I'm going to copy the same line and then paste this for both of our other notification services. So I'll just go ahead and make sure that it's intended properly. So that will be phone notification. Okay, and this will be SMS notification. Okay, now these are our children classes, and I hope that is also clear. These are all inheriting from our base class. So that will be something that you have to add over here. In this case, it doesn't matter if we inherit or not, but if you have a lot of functionality and you want to inherit some other functionality also, let's say define who am I, right? And you want to do this self, and you can just print I am a notification service. Okay, if you want to access this define who am I, that function, you have to inherit this stuff. Okay, I hope you're able to understand that. We can just run these children classes also, and finally we have to write our factory. What does this look like? And that is where we have to write the class. So in this case, we're dealing with notification, so we can call that notification factory, right? Then we have to go ahead and define a function. So that will be maybe create notification, and I can actually take this as self and get a choice from the user. So that'll be something similar to that, but that'll be there during when you're instantiating itself. So I can take this choice. So I can take choice as a variable. I'll just write this same code here. So I'll just write this. So instead of me actually doing, so two things to change here. One is the names over here from ch to choice, so that goes through properly. And the other thing is, rather than me creating this directly, I'm going to be returning stuff from this function. So I'll be returning this object from my function itself. Okay, so therefore I'll just write the return value over here. Similarly, I'll write the return value here and here, and there you go. So these are our this is our factory. Okay, we can also write an else class print sorry not available, for example. So you can write something like that. So this is our factory, and that is also done. So how do you call this? Calling this, right? How do you call our factory now that this is over? Well, that's very simple. What you do is simply you create an instance of the factory itself, and that becomes helpful because you can just import this class wherever you are in your 10 different files. You can just import this class and then use this. In case you want to make changes, you can always just make changes to the factory itself, and it will automatically apply to all of the classes where it's imported, right? So let's instantiate the factory. Okay, and now I am going to create a notification, and maybe I can create an email notification object, for example. email notification, and that will be from the factory dot create notification, give the choice as an email. Okay, now I will go ahead and call some function. So I'll just print what this email notification is first. Then I will go ahead and call email notification. Then we have a notify function, I think. And we can also go ahead and print the who my function to say that this is inherited. Okay. So how all of this looks like when I run this, type error. Okay. A message, right? So we can actually give a message over here and then run this. You can see, first of all, when I give this email as this parameter over here, an email notification service object is created. Then we get an email notification. Then we get, hi, I am a notification service. This is because we are inheriting from the base class. This is the base class function, so we're getting that also, and we're getting the child classes function also, and we're creating an email notification class. So I can actually copy and paste the same code, change this to maybe something else. So maybe SMS notification is what I'll put the name to be. SMS, and then SMS. Okay, so I run all of this. You can see that first time email notification is created. The next time when I create this notification, an SMS notification is created and says, hello, I'm part of the SMS notification service. So this is how factories work. Rather than you going and typing hard coding this in every single module, you'll create it as a class itself, and you'll just call the function from that class to create your, or to instantiate your objects. Okay, so this is the factory pattern. I hope you're able to get something from this as well. I hope this video helped you. If it did, hit that like button. If you guys have any questions about what we just discussed here, leave them in the comments so that the people looking at the comments can answer, or I can answer whenever I do find the time. Thank you so much for watching again. See you in the next video. Until then, bye.